Hey guys, we're going to be doing another Faith Ringgold project this week. It's going to be based on the book that you probably read last week or the week before called Tar Beach. If you haven't read that yet or read along with it, make sure that you click on the Tar Beach story on week 1, and she's going to read you the story, which I think is really neat that she is that she made that recording so you can actually hear it in her voice. I think that's a really neat thing. But what we're going to do today is we are going to make a story quilt, kind of like the one that she did in the book. Faith Ringgold did lots and lots of story quilts, which means that she actually used material, but she painted on the fabric and she made a story quilt. And we're not going to do that exactly, but we're going to do a version of that. So you're going to need your piece of paper. You are going to need your glue with a brush. You're going to need a pencil to draw your pictures, and you're going to need the strips of paper that I put in there that have the different designs on them. This is going to be for your quilt. So we're going to use all those things and some scissors. I think I said scissors. So we're going to use all of those things. You also need to get either some markers, crayons, or colored pencils to use also, because we're going to be coloring our background on our story quilts and everything. All right, so let me aim you down and we'll get started. Okay, for this week we're going to do the story quilt, and I've already kind of just sketched this out a little bit just because I wanted to have an idea of what I wanted to do. Now for your story quilt, what you're going to want to do is maybe you have a really good memory of something that you want to put on your picture. Maybe it was a time when you went to the beach with your family, or maybe it's just something you've thought about doing but you've never actually gotten to go, like maybe you wanted to go to the Eiffel Tower or something like that. It can be anything you want it to be. It can be, you know, any kind of story, any kind of thing that you want to remember, all that sort of thing. So, what I thought would be neat is to do a picture of me flying over the square in Shelbyville from when I was a little kid. And I can remember when I was little and I would come up to the square with the lady that used to keep me, and she was very special to me. And so I decided I wanted to do a picture with her and I flying over the square. So I've already sketched out part of it. Now, I need to draw the popcorn stand over here because that was a very important part. But I've already sketched out part of the picture because I didn't want you guys to have to just sit around and wait until I got all my pictures sketched out and everything. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw the popcorn stand right over here in front of where some of these buildings are. Now this isn't gonna be exact, and that's okay because Faith Ringgold's artwork style is called folk art. And that means that there's really not a lot of training that you kind of teach yourself how to do the artwork. And I've had some classes, but really most of the artwork that I've done, I've taught myself how to do it. Now, I'm not going to make this be absolutely real, but I'm gonna write popcorn on here and maybe some pictures of popcorn, just like it would have been in my memory, things like that. But I've also got over here, this is where they had some different shops. Now, of course, this doesn't look exactly like it did when I was a kid, but the neat thing about it is now I'm up here on the square in this building over here, and it's something that I always loved doing when I was a kid, was coming up to the square. So it's really special to me. So this is a special memory. So I'm just kind of sketching out my picture and everything, just to kind of give you an idea. So over here I've drawn a picture of me as a kid, and I'm gonna draw a picture of Reen over here. Now Reen was so special to me, and I loved her so much, and she always had these little buns that she wore, and she was just such a neat person. So I want it to kind of look childlike, like the way that Faith Ringgold did it. So we're gonna be flying through the air. And like I said, it's supposed to look like it's something that a kid would do. So I'm going to make her flying through the air as well, along with me. So here's her shirt. I'm gonna make one arm going up like she's kind of trying to reach out toward me because she always took such good care of me. And then here's her other arm and she's flying too. So anyway, there, and she would always wear these long dresses. So I'm gonna give her a long dress, and then I'm gonna put her little feet coming out the bottom. Now remember, this is supposed to look like something that a little kid would do. So we're gonna make it look, it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? So I'm not gonna I don't wanna even have that much detail. I'm gonna have her like she's got her eyes closed and she's going, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I can't believe we're flying through the air. Because that's what she would have said. So that's us flying around. And that's her dress that she's got on. And then I'll go back and maybe add some details to it. But anyway, it's just supposed to be something that's just very simple looking, just like in the pictures that are in the book. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to leave that part of my picture alone, and I'm going to take my strips that I did or that I sent you, and I'm going to cut those apart. So I'm going to cut each one into quarters. So I'm going to cut each piece into 4 pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those all the way around my picture, because I want them to be like a quilt square, just like she did on her picture. So each one of these I'm going to cut into 4ths. So I'm going to cut them all apart. Like this. And then we'll put a couple on top of each other at a time, just to kind of cut them the same size. And we'll cut them in half this way, and then in half this way. So I've got all my squares are going to be about the same size. And then I'm going to put them all together in different little sections all the way around the edge, because it's supposed to look like a quilt. So I don't want them to all be perfect by any means. I want them to be different designs, go in different directions and things like that, because it's going to look like an old-timey quilt. And what you're gonna have to do is, some of your squares are probably not gonna match up perfect, but that's okay. This is just something fun to do. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just experimenting. So you can do the back side as well if you wanna have some different colors in it. Now, some of your squares might not be exactly right. So what you probably wanna do on those is maybe hold up one of your other squares, because some of the paper didn't end the same. So you can kind of trim those to get those to fit, so they'll look a little bit better. So you're just going to put a bunch of different ones beside each other, and you're probably going to end up covering part of your picture, but that's okay. And you want your squares to kind of be the same size all the way around. It looks better. If it's not exact, don't worry about it too much. So lay it all out all the way around and get it the way that you want it. And then what you're gonna do is glue it down. So you don't want 2 pieces that are exactly the same beside each other. So if maybe you're running out of some of them, you might want to flip them on the opposite side or whatever. So you're gonna go all the way around, making your different designs and all that sort of thing. Just need a little bit more, and we'll get some off of this one so that they're different. I've got these two, so I'm gonna put these on top of each other and cut those into fourths. Like so. And then you might want to move some more around just to kind of have some different pieces in there. And then I need a smaller piece over there, so I'm going to cut this one like that, and then put another smaller piece over here on this side, and then this one. Now, got all my pieces coming across like this. I'll glue them down where they look better. Then I will probably put another piece right here. And what I will do is I will push pause and I will come back after I've glued all this down. So you're gonna brush your glue on with your paintbrush and cover all of your edges, okay? So I'm gonna stop for just a minute, glue all that down, and then I'll come back, okay? Okay, now make sure when you get through with your glue, you go ahead and put the top on it, and make sure that you rinse out your brush really, really good and get all the glue out. Because if you don't, you're gonna ruin your paintbrush. So make sure you rinse it out really good with some soap and water, and you get all the glue out, okay? So, once you've gotten all of your little quilt pieces, they're not really quilt pieces, of course, they're pieces of paper, but once you've gotten them all glued down, it's okay if some of them weren't even. We can go back and we can trim the edges where they fit right on the paper, and they're all perfect, the same length. It's not a big deal because we can always go back and trim that. So we'll go around the edges, and any pieces that are not on there fitting right, we can just trim those right off. It's no big deal at all. So just get your scissors, go around, trim it off, move those out of the way. Okay, now the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get a Sharpie. Sorry, I should have told you a second ago, but make sure you get a Sharpie. All that should be there with your art stuff. And you are going to just kind of trace around what you drew, and then you're gonna color it in. So you're gonna go around all of your drawings that you did. If you want to paint it, you can go over it with the Sharpie first, and then you can paint it with your watercolors, or you could even use your acrylic paints from the other day when we used those with your Alma Woodsy pictures. It's totally up to you. You can use whichever medium you want. Now this paper is cardstock, so it's pretty thick, so you can use your paints on it. It should be fine. But I believe I'm gonna use my colored pencils just because I think they'll be a good choice for this project. I don't know, I just think that'll look really nice if we use the colored pencils for this one. But like I said, you can use whichever ones you want. Now, of course, it looked a little different when I was a kid up here on the square, and that's okay. But maybe your picture is your family at the beach, maybe you're flying over the ocean. You know, I don't know. I'd love to see what you're drawing your picture of. But a story quilt is supposed to, you know, do what it says. It's supposed to tell a story. So everybody's story's different. You might have a picture of a time when you and your family went to an amusement park, or maybe you went on a really cool trip canoeing. I don't know. But that's the cool thing about it. A story quilt tells your story, not anybody else's. So everybody's can be different. But the point is, you do the outside with the different material. It's not really material, it's paper, but that's the idea, is that it's supposed to look like a quilt. So I'm gonna make my little medallion that's supposed to be on the top of the building over there across the street. Unfortunately, some really strong winds messed it up, but they're fixing it. So it'll be back hopefully soon. So it's really pretty, but and here's the building across the street where Party All the Time is. And there's our fancy little thing on there. Of course, I wanted to add that on there. There's our windows. And the double doors that we have. And our windows. And then we've got Go Chili's next door, which is pretty cool. So there's their little thing that goes in, their little patio area with their door, double doors. It's not exactly right on all the perspective, but the whole thing is, remember, it's supposed to look childlike. So and then here's our little bushes out front and things like that. So we'll draw that. Of course, that didn't look like that when I was a kid, but no one knows that. So there's the top of the building. It goes down. Okay, so then I'll draw and flying through the air. Green gold bands. Here's the keys thing. She's probably going, oh goodness, what have you got me into now? I was always talking her into stuff. Moon up here, and here's some clouds in the sky. And like some stars, like in the book. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is, of course, you'll color yours in, but we're gonna make some little stitches. So we're gonna make stitches that go over your quilt. So you're just gonna put little X's that connect your papers together. So it's like you're sewing your quilt together. So you're gonna make X's all the way around your little quilt. Tie your pieces together. And that works really good with the Sharpie. And so you're gonna do that all the way around. You're gonna add your little X's to stitch your pieces of your story quilt together. Guys, I really hope you'll send me a picture of these. I would love, love, love to see what they look like. I think that will be really cute. Please share them with me. I'm dying to see what you guys are making. I know you're doing a good job. Okay, so there is my story quilt. I'm gonna color it, and I am going to finish it all up. And so you guys are gonna go finish yours up, and we'll see what they look like when we all get done. We'll meet back here, okay? See you in a minute. Okay guys, so here's my finished story quilt. And I kind of messed up over here on my drawing, so I just cut a piece of paper and glued it over the top. Sometimes you mess up and you just have to fix it, so it's no big deal. That's the thing about art, you figure out a way to fix your mistakes. So I really kind of messed up with some ink over here on this side, so I decided just to take another piece of paper and cut it out and cover it up. So there is my story quilt. It's me and Reen up on the square. We'd gone to get some popcorn, and so that night, I guess I was really thinking about it, so I thought about us flying over the square. That'll be my story, okay? So I hope you guys have written a story about your story quilt. You can write it on the back of your paper if you want to, or you can just remember it in your mind, whichever one you prefer. I think it'd be kind of neat for you to write down your story. So one day when you get older and you're looking back through your artwork, you'll see it and it'll probably make you smile. I hope you guys had a good time, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.